decided she wanted to be Odin, where she was like, I'm a man. Like, did she grow up and was like, no, I'm a man, I'm transsexual, blah blah blah. And then Kaido was like, yeah, sure, I don't care, sure, you're my son. And then he decided to be Odin?
No, I think it's just Kaido would have just been like, "Yeah, that's my
Or was it
daughter,"
just
and
because of Odin?
then
Yeah.
then she's like, "No, I'm a boy," and then like Kaido's just like, "Okay, I'll roll with it, whatever you are, just as long as you're like, on my side." That being
Yeah.
said, we are live. Come one, come all. Nothing but love, nothing but respect. Jade here, New World Supernova. With Daniel today. Daniel, say hi.
Yo yo, it's
Yo,
me.
yo, nothing but love, nothing but respect. Let's jump straight into this red hot topic and then work our way back. I think that's got to be done, don't you?
Okay, what is the red hot topic?
How the damn chapter ended, and is it him? Is he alive?
Ah.
All that shiznick, you know what I mean? Like, at this,
Okay, yeah. Okay, easy take. I got an easy take for you.
go
Okay.
for it. I'm gonna
He
pull up some
looks
photos for you though.
exactly. Yeah, okay. He looks exactly like Odin, like picture perfect, exactly like Odin. Um, I don't see why anyone would say that he's not Odin unless they're just like straight up trying to deny what they're being told. If they are, that like fair enough, you can have theories. But like right now, at least the author wants you to think that he's Odin, so you may as well just think that he's Odin, right? Just go along with the ride, rather than trying to like second guess everything. Like it's cool to make theories, but like go along with the ride and let Oda surprise you by telling you that it's someone else,
It,
rather than having to try to predict every possible person that it is. Yeah. I think just like it looks like Odin, it's definitely being told to us like this is Odin. So just believe it. And if it's wrong, then cool. Cool twist.
See, I am in the band camp of there's just like so many possibilities that it could be so many different things. You know what I mean? Where it's just like, does it necessarily like there are so many options you could guess them, but is it going to be as meaningful if you guess it? And then if it is going to be as meaningful, like what is the best direction for the story? Because say Odin's alive, does that cheapen his death? If it cheapens his death, it hurts the story. If it hurts the story by cheapening his death, there's no point doing it unless there's a payoff
Mm.
that's better, right? Now, in the defense of anyone that thinks this is actually Odin, I'ma just
Mm.
say Odin's not really like Odin's a good guy, but he's not a great guy. Like you got to think he could have acted sooner and taken down Kaido when he was younger, and actively
Yeah,
tried to play both sides and
like
made the
he's
situation
good.
worse.
He's good-hearted, but he's just like kind of like free-spirited and just does what he wants, right? Like it just so happens that he doesn't have like evil tendencies, is why he's not like a villain. But like, he's not necessarily like I'm gonna sacrifice my whole life for justice or whatever. He just kind of like is like, why would you hurt a Why would you hurt a good person? Stop doing that. Like that's his like sense of like good is just very. It's very like kind of like an immature thing, like why would you hurt that puppy? That puppy's cute. Like
Oh, I
it's
agree.
that level of thing. Yeah, he has no
Um,
idea about like greater justice or anything like that. He's just kind of good because he just happens to be mindseted that way.
okay. I am gonna send you some photos here for this conversation, all right? Because
Uh huh.
there's some theories to be had here. Anyone that is watching, anyone that wants to see these photos, all right? There is a link to the Discord in the description down below. You can join the Discord. Go over to General. We are currently in the locked live stream audio chat. But if you don't want to message us via YouTube chat, you can always message us via um, Discord, and more specifically in Discord, you'll be able to keep up and actually see the photos that I will be tagging here or that I'll be uploading for these theories. So you'll be able to actually see what it is we're actually looking at and what we're talking about in a lot more clarity as opposed to us just describing them. That being said, I have just flooded the general chat with
That's
photos.
quick.
I am good to work here. So all right, we're gonna go look at the third bottom photo, the one where it's the Odin side by side that was at the end of the chapter. Okay,
Yep.
so you see that side by side.
Yep.
Very important things to note here is one, his robes are down. His robes aren't showing his masculine, godlike Adonis thighs and
Damn.
legs.
I want those legs. Yeah.
That could be an indicator that this is not real Odin, for starters. Okay.
As in the personality is slightly different. Yeah.
Well, it could be someone's take on it. are a few different theories here. So if you see that photo on the right,
Yeah.
see how he's holding his hands, where it's the flat of the top of his hand on his waist.
Yeah.
Okay, scroll up to the photo of Katarina Devon, who now has the nine-tailed fox fruit and can shapeshift.
Yeah, right. Same posture.
That is a good possible connection there. Go back again. If you look at that same photo of Odin, there's mist around the bottom. There is mist when Katarina Devon transforms. You can see that on the 4th photo down with her in fox form.
Yeah.
That said,
Uh-huh.
Gyukimaru is another person, that fox that was the bandit that sells Aura swords. We saw that in human form, and we saw that transform into a fox. So we know that has the ability to transform. We don't know if it can transform into other people, but that's another possibility, and that's another possibility of someone that might know Odin. Katarina Devon, I don't think would personally know Odin, but you guys have got to remember out there as well, we don't know how her powers work. She might just be able to look at someone and copy it. There are wanted posters of Odin. Blackbeard knew Odin for the better half of a few years. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
those possibilities aren't impossible. Another possibility that I was raising in the live discussion, in the live reaction, I should say, rather, was if this is Odin, I think this is Odin that got sent here by Toki. Now, if this is Odin that got sent here by Toki, he might still be dead. And this actually might be something more like a tether, where she can send someone... She can't travel backwards in time, correct? But if she sends someone to the future, she can pull them back into her timeline. If that makes sense.
Yeah. Okay.
So she might have been able to send him in the future to make sure that their plan of everything happening in 20 years was coming to fruition, and then he might get sucked back into the events of the flashback and die.
And then die. Yeah, so this could be him basically before he died.
Yes. Because there's some very important things to note here. For anyone that's like, oh, we saw Odin die, well, we saw Odin scream his living guts out. Photo in the Discord, by the way. Scream his living guts out, being in the oil, and then immediately be fine with the oil. Almost like he's got full body Rio protecting him, keeping the oil off his body. The same sort of thing that could stop a gunshot killing him and him burning alive.
Mm-hmm.
It's possible, okay? Don't necessarily know how I would feel about that, but Odin's also a bit of a slimy person in a way. Like, in mostly a good way. But it would not surprise me for him to shirk responsibility and throw it onto his retainers and to his son because of the stuff he learned at Laugh Tale. It would not surprise me.
Mm-hmm.
Right? It's possible. The only thing I would say there, and again, if you look at that photo that was included at the end of the last chapter, Odin during the flashback had the Enma and Ame no Abakiri, and he had that all the way up until the day before his execution. At that point in time, he'd only just given it to Toki, those swords, while in prison and then being captive by Kaido, to get Kaido, like, to get those to his kids before he died. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Looking at Odin here, he doesn't have those swords. So if that were to happen, it would literally have to be, I give these swords to you, give me 2 fodder swords, or don't even give me swords, just send me to the future, and he picks up 2 weapons, and he's just running about the castle. That probably doesn't make sense, and that's a little more convoluted than needed. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So that...
Yeah.
Like, we're addressing it, but, like, bruh, I am kind of lost as to knowing what the hell is going on here. There are so many possibilities. I tell you what, if it is Katarina Devon, I think that's more scary than anyone should realize. Because if it is Katarina Devon, you have a colossal domino effect. Because the information we got at the beginning of the year was Shanks will make a move this year, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
So if Blackbeard shows up to Wano, right, tries to infiltrate and then backstabs both Big Mom and Kaido and the Alliance,
Yeah.
you gotta think, to have gotten here, he's gotten past the Big Mum pirates that were present. To get past the Big Mum pirates that are present, he probably defeated them.
Yeah.
If we're going down this line of thinking. If that's the case, you have Kaido and Big Mum as an alliance together, but Big Mum has no troops with her outside of Perospero now. So Big Mum is put in a very precarious situation. Throughout the course of this chapter, we know that Kaido's forces kind of going to betray him because of Queen. I'm just kind of saying, if this is another force like a Yonko, then Shanks is showing up here to stop that Yonko going to AWOL. In which case, we have a 1v1 between two Yonko crews, and we have a 2v5 with the remaining two Yonkos versus the Supernova. And the reason why that is tremendously, underratingly crazy is because, right, people are going down this arc, and we have CP0 here to mop up the aftermath.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And the last time we saw Shanks, he was enticing the help of the world government.
Yeah.
So there could be a shit show that ensues, depending on which direction's taken here. If it's Odin, right? If it is Odin, it might ruin aspects of Odin's story. Not good.
Mm-hmm.
If it is Katarina Devon, that has much worse implications for the wider story, right? Even if it's an infiltration mission, say it's Katarina Devon, Shiryu, and one other person, that's terrifying, because do you know what that says to me? That says Robin's getting kidnapped here, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't want that. If it's Gyukimaru, that's just kind of a dick move on his part, if that makes sense. Like, it doesn't matter if he knew Odin and has a relationship with Odin and he's trying to do this as like a morale boost for these people. If it was Gyukimaru showing up as your, like, as these people's dead idol, kind of not a good thing. Can kind of be more demoralizing.
Yeah.
So, I'm kind of lost. The posture, very Katarina Devon. The swords sets a timeline for when it could be Odin, right? So if it is Odin, like, how do I say this? If it's Odin, it's not Odin that's just aged 20 years. He's too young looking, if that makes sense.
Yeah, the whole point is that he said, like, oh, you guys have gotten old.
Mm-hmm. And that's only about half of them. That's like Cat, that's the dog, that's the like of Kawamatsu and those people, and Denjiro. You know what I mean? It's the people that survived 20 years. The pants
also the idea is that he definitely hasn't aged. So either he's being copied, like as the age when he died, which is probably when they would copy him. I'm sure they can't just like make up 20-year-old picture of Odin and copy it.
Mm-hmm.
They would have to copy like the most recent one. And yeah, it's pretty interesting. Like, it would have to be. My question more is like, if he's being copied, can they not copy the swords? At least, like, obviously they wouldn't be able to copy the form and function because they're like legendary swords, but just the look of.
Yep. So this is what I was implying. That says to me, it would be like, I think actually I'll pull up a photo of Gyukimaru. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I think these are actually identical to swords Gyukimaru had, from memory. Which you would tend to say then it was Gyukimaru. But the problem is...
Wait, who's this?
Remember the bandit that stole Zoro's sword?
Yeah.
That's Gyukimaru. So...
yeah, right.
Here. Have a look at this last photo. Have a look at it up close. Top right shoulder. White blade and black blade. Identical essentially to what Odin's got on now.
Okay.
But again, if it's Gyukimaru, that's kind of not a good thing. That's actually kind of like insulting in a way. You know?
I don't think it will be. I think if it's him, I think it'll just be like a really big letdown.
I don't I don't want to say it's Odin though, because he's not wearing his clothes like Odin would.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Why
Yeah.
why would he have that modesty of like having the long robes now instead of just the Chaden look? You know what I mean? It's almost
Yeah.
like someone saw him torso up, maybe from a wanted poster, and copied the image from a wanted poster and just filled in what they thought the rest looked like. Almost like a, Katarina Devon sort of situation. I'm just saying.
Yeah, right. That's true.
So many ways to look at it. Like I actually like, especially since last time we saw these people, it looked like Toki was here. You know what I mean? But
Yeah, okay.
now, right? And that hairstyle was very different to Odin's. Now that person is very different. But could that have been last time, right? That they saw Odin with them, and the person that we thought we saw was crying was actually just turned out to be Okiku, who's in the middle of the room here, who has bangs and has those strands of hair. Could it just have been really misleading?
Well, I mean, that's the thing is like when I saw that little strip that everybody was fixating on, I never necessarily thought it was going to be that important.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, like I feel like Oda sets these things up so that they're like almost not guessable, right? Like he doesn't necessarily want everyone to just to be able to be like, oh yeah, that's obviously that person. He'd make it very easy if that was the case. So yeah, I'm not sure. Like I always thought that like he would just throw in some random detail that wouldn't be the case. Like that's why I'm thinking like if we, for example, if we go on thinking this is Katarina Devon and it isn't, it's going to be disappointing like
Yeah.
immediately. Um, and I'd rather kind of be surprised than just be disappointed or like
Mm-hmm.
normal. Like okay, yeah, exactly. It's exactly what I thought it was. Um, so I'm like happy for it to be a twist. I would say like the idea that like Oda wrote in Katarina Devon showed that she has this ability. It kind of implies that it's going to be used, right?
Yeah.
Like it sort of implies that we're being foreshadowed the information about it, that she has this ability. So like, because there's probably the other Blackbeard pirates probably have abilities as well, just like Katarina and Shiryu has new abilities. The rest of them probably also have different abilities. They just didn't want to show them. Probably because the only ones that are going to be prevalent right now will be these two. Like
Shiryu
I'm
and
sure,
Katarina, yeah.
yeah, like potentially next chapter we know we won't even get any more about Odin, but we will see something to do with invisibility. And and then there'll be another theory of is that
See,
Shiryu.
see
And
that
that's
could
like the
work
idea, yeah.
because if we see Sanji go invisible, right?
Yeah.
And then someone gets hit from someone that's invisible, but then we get a reveal
Yeah.
that it's Shiryu and not Sanji, that would be impressive. Just saying.
Yeah.
And that would be really easy to play off.
And it could even be something like like you see Sanji go invisible and then head towards a certain area, and then they cut over to that area, and then somebody gets cut from someone who's invisible, and they go, "Someone's invisible around me," but it's a cut, and that's like the subtle tell that it's not actually Sanji, but they don't ever explain it during that chapter. And then maybe the next chapter after is when you actually see maybe Blackbeard rock up, and it's or even one of like one of Blackbeard's crew that don't have that stealth function, and then it's like confirmed that Blackbeard is there, or at least his crew is there. But like yeah, I think right now it's just it's good to just think like, oh, cool, might be
Mm.
Odin. The thing is like yeah, like you were saying about is it even good if it's Odin? Not necessarily, because the only thing that he can do is like go around tying up all of like the weaklings, which kind of like defeats the tension there. Like taking out King and Queen and all
Yep.
that. Or he could go up to the rooftop and help Luffy, in which case it kind of ruins Luffy's whole
Well,
thing.
that
It
just
ruins
makes
his
it
whole
feel like
achievement.
why not do this 20 years ago when it's just one person?
Exactly. Yeah. It. Yeah. It kind of. It makes it. Yeah. It makes the idea because one thing that I do want to mention though is that I forget who it was, but somebody mentioned like, oh, if this person was here to help us back 20 years ago, or
Yeah.
Hyogoro said like if I was in my prime back 20 years ago, and I could help Odin, um, could we have taken out Kaido? And then, maybe it's like, Odin and Luffy now, because Luffy is
Do you know what?
Hyogoro's apprentice. And so maybe it's going to be Odin and Luffy 2v1ing Kaido, and then the rest are fighting Big
If
Mom. That
this,
could be interesting.
I want to preface this by saying I don't think it's Odin, realistically.
Yeah.
But if it is, as if we're not getting a scene of Odin shouting out to Zoro, "Hey, use Enma like this instead," and then you just get a massive
Yeah.
power up of Zoro using Enma on the roof.
Yeah, I mean that's another thing is that he has that weapon, and so Odin could just grab it and be like, "I'll show you how to use it." Go in for like one clash, use some ability of it, and then give it back to Zoro and be like, "Now do that."
Now,
And he's basically teaching Zoro mid-fight.
the worst part is though, regardless of
Yeah,
if this is Odin or not, there's this chapter really messed with me a little bit because there's three things. It's just sort of like you're baiting, and if it doesn't get paid off, it's gonna be sort of raw. That's Kaido seeing Odin, right? If
yeah.
Kaido sees Odin, is he gonna keep fighting on the rooftop, or is he gonna be like, Odin? Where's One Piece? What's happening? Where's the poneglyphs? Information. Give it to me. I didn't get it from you 20 years ago. Um, if he sees, if he sees Momo as a dragon, which by the way, very weird that Yamato, the person that goes, oh yeah, my father's a dragon, right, and is a source of information on all things dragon, looks at Momo and is like, an eel instead of a dragon.
Mm-hmm.
That's interesting. And Chopper being the absolute cutest but dumbest, eating a rumble ball in front of a bunch of beast pirates to power up. You can see where I'm going with that, right? Although that said,
Yeah.
if Marco eats a rumble ball, what happens there? Hey,
Oh my
how
god!
you
Imagine like a
going?
demonic phoenix.
Marco 1v3ing all of the commanders.
It brings out like a divine like aspect of the phoenix because it's like a divine creature. um, it would be interesting. Like I don't know. I'm not sure if the Rumble Ball thing. It seems like the Rumble Ball thing has been ignored for so long that I can't really have much hope in it actually coming back and becoming prevalent. Like it's just seemingly like Chopper has never had any like intention of like feeding it to any other zone. He's never talked about like, hey, like Sanji, you should get a zone and I can give you Rumble Ball. He's never had anything like that. Um, it just seems like it's just going to be a Chopper thing, honestly. Just like Chopper has all these
Ooh.
different forms. It makes him a little bit more interesting than just I can turn into a reindeer and a human. It gives him like a combat thing because like obviously he already is a reindeer, so he can't turn into like a bestial version of a reindeer to increase his strength
I mean,
because
that's
he
Monster
turns
Point.
into a normal reindeer.
That's
And
Monster Point
so
as is.
yeah, and so like all he can do really is turn into a human, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which is like weaker, honestly. So like he doesn't really have any combat power with his fruit unless he has the rumble balls, which actually lets him turn into like the bestial forms, which I'd called.
Look,
Um, because
um,
otherwise, if he's like, I'm going to become a reindeer to fight you with more strength, he would just turn into a normal reindeer that has like shit all strength.
it would be interesting if Marco gets taken out in a little bit, and Chopper's left getting defended by X Drake again, and Chopper
Mm.
gets paralyzed from having too many rumble balls. Remember when that used to be a thing where he used to like be way
Yeah,
too worn out and just like need to be carried around? And
yeah,
he gets thrown on Drake's back. And while Drake's fighting, he's like, Drake, if you eat this, you'll get an insane power up and be able to beat whoever it is you're fighting. That would be interesting. Because then that
that would be
introduces
interesting. Yeah.
everyone hearing that and understanding if we get those rumble balls, we'll be stronger. But it makes it also like like it's targeted specifically to one person. We see it if it ever does work on anyone other than Chopper, as opposed to just solely
Yeah.
Chopper's human fruit.
Another interesting point is that like if he can create rumble balls that like enhance the animal powers of zone users, could he not either use rumble balls already or create a different version that will allow Minx to immediately turn into Sulong form regardless of the moon?
Ooh, maybe.
Because he could basically just artificially invoke um Sulong into people, and then he could also have it so that the drug wears off after a certain amount of time, so they never actually die in it. They never continue raging until they die, because it'll even if they continue raging the whole time, it'll run out, and then they'll just go back to normal form before they die from exhaustion.
Save that for Two Piece. Um, right. Well, look. Let's just sort of.
um,
Do you have
yeah.
anything you want to address?
More stuff in the chapter. Um, So when you were talking about Yamato with the eel, hasn't it been a bit of a meme that everyone says that he turns into an eel? Isn't that
Yes.
like a running joke? So
Yes.
maybe they're just honestly, maybe they're just not thinking about it that much, and they're just calling him an eel just for the sake of it. The other thing is Hyogoro survived. Pretty cool.
Yep.
I mean, it's not
Expected.
like he can turn back into that form again,
Um,
but still,
interesting.
it's just cool that he's alive.
Interestingly enough,
And
Chopper
then
actually
yeah.
didn't cure anyone. He just made a virus that balances out the effects. So
Yeah, he's
Chopper's
like an antivirus.
no,
Yeah.
it's not even really an antivirus. It's a second virus that just eats the old virus essentially.
Yeah. So yeah, it's a virus that kills viruses. So antivirus,
Yeah,
right?
well, sort of. Like it's weird because there's also the possibility for that being manipulated and just making this illness even worse now. You know what I mean? Like you one upped my one up, so I'm gonna one up your one up with a one up. You know what I mean? Just the
Yeah.
constant double crossing or crisscrossing. Um.
Hmm.
All right.
Also, all of the pleasurers and the waiters have finally turned on Queen. That was
Ooh,
pretty much expected, but it actually happened, which is good.
ooh, looks like we are
Um.
getting some frame rate drops from
Oh.
YouTube. The stream is getting hurt. What is going on here? Give me 2 seconds. I'll be back.
Yeah.
Still not the world's best quality. It looks like. Yep, okay, now it's back to normal.
Ah.
Now it's back. I just went
Lovely.
and unplugged some stuff that were draining the draining the internet.
Yeah. Okay.
Alright.
By the way, bit of an understated thing. Chopper just jumps in and blocks like the kill shot against Hyogoro. It just like
Yeah,
stops
so
that sword in his baby form.
that is something that sort of
That's
shook me
crazy.
because what is it that actually blocked that?
It looks like he's literally just jumped in, and he like the hat that he's wearing right now is like a really hard helmet or something. Maybe Frankie made him like a Wappo metal hat.
Maybe.
That'd be
Maybe,
pretty
maybe.
cool. It literally looks like he's just dived in and just let the sword smack him in the head, and he just stopped it. But like regardless, he's in his baby form. He definitely hasn't changed there.
Mm.
Which is pretty cool. And then yeah, the idea that by the way, like Monster Chopper, we're all sleeping on Chopper, man. Like he bloodied up Queen with that slap.
Yeah.
I'm not saying he could beat Queen, but he's literally this blood spitting out of his
Look,
the side of his face or his mouth.
it was a little disrespectful. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
He's kind of
When I
disrespecting
saw
Queen.
that, I know how like I talked to you earlier this week, and I was saying how like I think like the Queen and King are gonna like have this, they're gonna start showing themselves and
Man.
prove that they're worth a billion. Now I'm just like, dude, they're a joke.
Yeah, no, but that's actually kind of the point, right? Where Queen had to manipulate himself like crazy to be
Yeah.
good because it's just him in his zone is sort of useless, right? King,
Yeah.
if it wasn't for him being able to fly, he's got like fly and fire. He's got nothing going for him, right? He doesn't seem like a god tier swordsman, right? He cut someone, being Marco, but only because he flew at him. It wasn't like a projectile sword slash. We're seeing no skill from him in that aspect. The best showcased of the Beast Pirates is Jack, who doesn't have a single W to his name. He's the king of L's, right? He's lost everything he's ever done, but he's tried. Whereas everyone else has like ragged on him for, trying and failing, but they've never done anything and never succeeded anyway.
That's so true. Like, honestly, Jack has genuinely had the best showing. Like, Jack is someone that I would actually put on third division commander level. Like, I would actually say, like, yeah, I would actually say he's like worthy of being a third division commander. But then like Queen and King have just shown nothing compared to the first and second.
Queen and King
Imagine Queen versus Ace. Ace would like melt him with no effort. Like he wouldn't even use Haki. He'd just use his fruit and just send a bunch of fire towards
you know
him
what?
and just cook him.
I'm just saying. Just saying. See how easy Marco snuck up on Queen there? And,
Yeah,
got him in the flaming headlock like a damn G. Do you know what happened there? If that was Smoothie, and she just like walked past and just tapped the back of his neck, oh man, he's mummified. He's done. He's dusted. Ace, burnt. Ace is soloing 1v1ing the Beast Pirate Commanders back to back to back, right? Like in all honesty, they have the worst sort of showcasing, all right? And I'm hoping they get more because I don't want to just be on that Beast Pirate slander. But at the moment, they ain't looking good.
At the moment, I see Jack doing more to Ace than Queen. Like I see Queen like shooting a laser blast and just going straight through
and do you know
him,
what?
and it just melts him. Like at least Jack can maybe hockey up his blades. Like
screw that.
So Ace would actually have to try to dodge him.
At least
like,
Jack
whereas
can.
With Queen, it just seems like he would just fly at him and kill him.
I don't care if it's as an elephant. At least Jack can run. Queen's just standing still, just like, oh, I will get you, and then gets got, kicked in his big ass neck.
I think King's the only difference because we don't know if King's immune to fire because of the fire that's always on him.
And he's a different species, but like, out of all the first division commanders, I don't think anyone at the moment has King as their number one. As their number two. Maybe as number three. I mean, look, Marco, clearly above King on a one-on-one situation, right?
Yeah.
Katakuri.
Katakuri's had way more showing.
Katakuri, I'm sorry, from what I've seen from King and how easily
Marco could not deal with Future Sight as easy as he did with King.
Yeah.
Like, he could not deal with Katakuri's Future Sight as easily, no way.
Look at how well Marco was dealing though with King, right? Being able to get the edge on him. And you're telling me Katakuri's not doing that with the ability to see the future? Like, think about that. If someone without Future Sight is able to catch you off guard consistently, someone with Future Sight, Katakuri is just sitting back there just like, here we go again. Whack, 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 whack. You know what I mean? Don't even get me started on Beck and Beckman. We don't have anything to benchline him except for the fact that at this point in time, he's just like 70% Shanks. Just even if you just gave us 70%, 50% Shanks, right? That person is soloing Queen. That person is soloing King. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's not even a contest. Shiryu? Maybe. But even then, turns invisible. We know Shiryu's got projectile slashes, so being an aerial combatant isn't super useful. And I'm just saying, right? Shiryu was compared to the dude that was supposedly keeping 2 warlords and a 2nd Division commander, plus half of the current Blackbeard commanders, right? In prison. He was equal to the dude keeping them in prison. I'm just saying, right? That at least narratively has a better showcasing than King. Alright?
Yeah.
King the Wild L. Right? Queen, the Plague of L's. Jack, he's on a double.
He's alright.
He's Jack the Drought, right? They call him the Drought because he has been withheld from having a W for so long. He's He's literally dying of thirst, just crawling through the desert, just that last W, and I can die, right? But at least he's moving for it. King and Queen are just there, just like, you idiot, why would you go for a W? While they're sitting like 10 meters back and that already starving to death, already dehydrated, unable to move, just like, you're an idiot. You know what I mean? Like, they're useless.
Everything around him is a drought because he's drowning in L's.
That's it. And okay, so I'm not like Oda sometimes has some bad writing, but normally with any writing that I go, this is kind of iffy or kind of bad, right? I either wait for the official translation or I wait for the next couple of chapters, because if it gives better context, I'm like, all right, sweet, we can, it'll flow better with more context. It might not just it might not be a week to week sort of structure. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But the CP0 dude doing the exposition here, right? In front of one of the Maoris, one of Kaido's intelligence agency people.
Yeah.
Dude, you're supposed to be like the higher tier CP0. Get your shit together. I don't care if you think you're strong. Don't start randomly monologuing. Even your own subordinate was like, dude, how relevant is this? What are you talking about? Meanwhile, their information network's like a foot away from you, strumming their guitar and just like, oh, information, huh? Sweet. Everyone's going to know about this in a week. You know what I mean? How dumb can you get?
Yeah.
Like, I know all this.
I mean, hey, maybe they intend on wiping everybody out.
Hey, do it. Act on that. Make CP0 apparently
thing,
made
though.
Blackbeard's crew run. Show me you got that energy.
What they talked about was actually like really significant, right? Like Vegapunk using the lineage factor, right? That lineage factor seems to be a massive thing because like that's what Judge does with his kids. That's what Caesar was trying to do with the giants, right? Seemingly, Caesar was using almost like Big Mum's lineage factor, or maybe just a giant's lineage factor, to try and implant it into these kids. And then it seems like they're implying that they created. So what they're saying is that they created an artificial devil fruit, talking about the dragon fruit, right? That Momo has.
Yep.
But then they're saying that the world government intended to seize the fruit, but it was ruled a failure. By who?
By Vegapunk. Right? But the point is, was it a failure, or is Vegapunk just like, oh, I figured out all this. I got it right. But do you know what? It shouldn't go into the hands of the world government because that's a little too OP. They can have pacifistas.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, what if like the world government rocked up on Vegapunk and said, "Give us that fruit," and he was like, "I can't give you this fruit. It's a failure. It doesn't work," and just kept it. They just went, "Oh, okay, fair enough," and left. And then he's just sitting here with this. What if it's actually did work, and it's a genuine artificial devil fruit, and it's actually. I mean, they've said that Vegapunk had discovered the secret to the fruits, right?
Yep.
What if he actually can create artificial devil fruits, and maybe this dragon fruit was the first one that he made, and he just said that this one was a failure, and then later when he joined the world government fully, then he started making real ones. And what if that's why they don't need the warlords? What if they are actually currently creating an army of fruit users?
You ready for this?
If they don't have pacifistas, is that they have literally an army, like every marine will have a fruit.
You ready for this juicy bombshell?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. It's coming. I'm on my Marines agenda here. Okay, you heard it first. Kaido can, like, we know that Kaido's been captured in the past, right? But do you know what the very interesting thing about this lineage factor stuff is? The lineage factor stuff was a discovery by Vegapunk and Judge, right?
Yeah, and Caesar, they were all a team, weren't they, right?
Yep,
back then?
Yep.
Theoretically, Queen might have been a part of it.
They discovered it, right? They discovered it before Sanji was born. So before 22 years ago, right? They were working together. At that point in time, the Marines found out and Vegapunk got captured, right?
Mm-hmm.
So Vegapunk got captured and then began working for the Marines and then started these experiments and things like that, right? So 22 years ago, he wasn't with the Marines. So within 22 years, right? He was
Mhm.
with the Marines. That means within the last 22 years, the Marines have beaten Kaido. They have beaten Kaido up in numbers or a one-on-one, whatever you want to say. They have beaten Kaido, dragged his ass off to Punk Hazard, and experimented on him. Within those 22 years, right? You got to remember, within those 22 years, we're talking about the OG admirals sort of coming up through the ranks and that, and starting to take over in their positions of power and that and whatnot.
Mhm.
So, look, maybe it was Garp, maybe it was Sengoku, right? Sort of implied that it isn't them through other means in the story, because at these points in time, 22 years ago, right? You got to think. We know that Kaido's been doing multiple expeditions in the past. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But we know he was on Wano and captured Wano 26 years ago to 20 years ago, right?
Yeah.
So from Kaido capturing Wano and having fought Odin, and however strong he was there, he has been beaten by the Marines and captured.
Yeah. That would have to be the case.
Yeah, timeline wise, that's where it has to sit. Who's beaten Kaido, Daniel? What squad rolled up on Kaido and was like, "You're coming with me. We're gonna give you some big juicy shots. You know, take a little bit of blood."
Hmm.
That's something
I
to
don't
think
know.
about. I don't need a direct
The thing
answer.
is that the thing is that I can't see it being like Akainu, like really any of the
Yeah.
admirals except for like Aokiji. Like, because
Ooh,
I think
ooh.
Akainu would make permanent damage, and so would Kizaru with the lasers. I could see Aokiji freezing him or something, and not, and then like the frost
Hey,
not like damaging his
hey.
scales or whatever. But I can't see Akainu beating
I
him and not just
I
like
feel like if it
melting the
was
scar
Kizaru,
into
it
him.
wouldn't do any visual damage. It just would have done internal damage with the lasers, if that makes sense. Like it would have just like cooked him a little bit until he healed back from it. But I see what you
I don't
mean.
know,
I see what you mean. I
because they
look.
explode on the surface.
Hey, hey. The flip side of it is Aokiji's coming in there with Momonga and Oniguma and that, and that's even more. That would be even more insulting to Kaido here, would it not?
Mm,
But
yeah.
hey, whoever it was, that happened. Kaido got caught, and it's within the last
Hmm.
20 years, cause it's sort of confirmed here. You know what I mean? And
It'd
seemingly,
be pretty funny if it was Tsuru. Just
oh
solo.
god, that would have
Just
been
washed
hilarious.
him. Put him out to wash.
Yes. World's strongest world's strongest creature, meet the world's strongest washing machine. Bulls. But, right? Specific wording here. When Kaido was
Mhm.
being held captive by the Navy, Vegapunk used his lineage factor to try and synthesize an artificial devil fruit. Right? The
Yep.
world government intended to seize the fruit, but it was ruled a failure, so it was left on Punk Hazard. Right? Now,
Hmm.
how is this relevant? There was a massive explosion on Punk Hazard. It would be convenient if it was destroyed then, but a report from G5 indicates that there was still a research facility in operation until recently. I was just thinking it's fortunate that that experiment was a failure. That's all. So I feel
Hmm.
like that is set up for it not being a failure, and Momo's going to catch Onigashima from dropping on the Flower Capital. I feel like that's a pretty staple thing to say.
Well, I wanted to point out another thing. Does Momo not look a lot bigger when he's coming out of Yamato? Like, wasn't he like a person size at most when he turned into his dragon form? He didn't seem that big in the past, right? But he's pretty big here, and it looks almost even as if he's kind of growing.
Look, look. You might have a point, because Yamato is like
It is
almost twice as
possible.
big as Luffy, isn't she?
Yeah, she's real. Yeah, she's tall as
She's
hell.
like almost Dofi height from memory. Like she's a big gal.
Yeah.
And Momo used to be draped around Luffy's shoulders
Yomo's like Momo's length here. If you straighten him out, he's probably twice as long
as he
as
was.
Yamato is tall.
Yeah, he's probably twice as long now as he was shown in the past. That just might be a matter of
Yeah.
bad scaling.
But
But
the other thing is that like there are like streaks coming out from Momo. Like it could just be like a surprise, but it also could be like stretching outward, as in he is currently growing, right?
mm,
So like it could be just that he turned into the dragon and they're surprised, or it could be that he's growing. He's turned into the dragon and he's growing, and they're like, "Oh, whoa, what is going on?" Because they're watching him grow in front of their eyes. We're probably going to see next chapter if we just randomly see two dragons in the sky at some point.
Interesting. All right.
Maybe we will cut back to the rooftop and you'll see a silhouette of two dragons, and then everyone's got theories about how like Kaido can multiply or clone himself or some shit, and it's actually one of them is Momo.
Very interesting. Look, I'm gonna divert the conversation one way and then immediately backtrack another way. Okay. So, the pleasurers and the gifters. Oh, sorry, the pleasurers and the waiters. The 40, pretty much the 45,000. No, sorry, because there's 10,000. So the 15. It was 30,000 versus 30,000, wasn't it? So the waiters, 15,000 people.
Yeah.
The pleasurers, right? Another 4,500 people are now seemingly on our team because Queen could not shut up and just say, "I'll kill you later." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
all
true.
he had to do was lie instead of just be a bit of an ass. Jack is the dude that's crawling through the desert, right? For the dub, but isn't making it. Queen's the dude holding Jack's leg, going, "When you get there, can you grab me some too?" And just stopping him from moving. You know what I mean? Like, Queen has single-handedly caused the most problems for the Beast Pirates.
Yeah.
Just like terrible attitude, terrible, just like he's kind of useless, man. Like
Yeah, true.
following that trail of second division commanders just being an absolute meme. All right, that was my zig. My zag is we didn't touch it last week, and I now want to go back and have a discussion on Marco mollywopping these two fools because we didn't get to do this discussion last week publicly. We just did a private conversation, but Marco might be the pirate outside of Luffy closest to being a goddamn Yonko. Why? Maybe because at one point he was considered a damn Yonko. You know what I mean? Maybe it's got something to do with all the Beast Pirates. Remember 2 years ago, everyone would be like, "Oh my god, I can't wait to see Beast Pirates. King's gonna have a mythical zone. He's gonna be impressive." Or Orochi's mythical zone. Ooh, he's gonna be strong when we see him use it. No, just ancient zones. The real mythical babe is Marco of the trillion dubs. All right, Marco. You know, as a kid, how you used to draw a bird just as an M, right?
Yeah.
From another perspective, that's just Marco, the W flying around, just getting wins. Doesn't matter where he is. You know what I mean? Just flapping his wings, causing wins for the Alliance. So we had Queen, right? Try to spit out a Kizaru laser, which we touched on a little bit earlier, but Queen has a Kizaru laser. So Queen, the science, Queen Eye, the science guy, doing his thing, right? He has a Yonji neck, so he can stretch his neck out like Yonji, right?
Yeah.
Depending on what color this might be Ichiji's lineage factor aspect, or this might be a Kizaru colored laser. It might be red or yellow. You know what I mean? So this could be indicating either Queen has more knowledge in the lineage factor, which he has hinted at in the past, right? Or this could mean in the past, instead of asking for Vegapunk, that they have asked for technology like Pacifista technology, and damn Marines, the damn world government gave it to them.
Mm-hmm.
You fool. Queen has a shotgun in his mouth. He's got a laser in his mouth. He's got an extendable neck. He's, what, 40 ton? He a big boy. He a big fella. Apart from his...
The thing is that, like, so Kaido's been captured in the past by the Navy in the last 20 years, 22 years, right?
Mm-hmm.
So seemingly, unless it was between 20 and 22 years, if it was within the last 20 years, he was at Wano, like on Onigashima, probably left it and then got captured, but still, like, he was currently ruling over Wano, right? He had Queen on his crew. He got taken to Punk Hazard, where Vegapunk was, and done all these experiments on. Like, it's very possible that, like, he maybe even wasn't held captive. Like, maybe he wants to die, doesn't he? Maybe he was, like, trying to figure out
I mean,
if Vegapunk could kill him.
if that was the case, wouldn't they just feed him the crappy knockoff fruit and get the real fruit?
I mean,
Make him pop
do you
that
know?
balloon?
Do you know that'll kill him? We don't know why he can't die.
Good point. Good point.
Maybe he wants to die in combat or something. Like, he wants to die from, like, a physical injury or something. So, like, there's, like, a bit of a cop out there.
So
the thing is, every time Queen shoots through his mouth, you can kind of see steam coming out of his mouth, which implies some kind of mechanism. And it has to, like, dissipate the gas after it fires.
Sort of like
it
a
seems
pacifist,
more
though.
robotic than genetic, right? He seems like a
Machine.
pacifist. So I'm kind of saying he seems more like a pacifistery than he does seem Ichiji.
So
It seems like he was kind of like let's imagine he was on the team with Vegapunk and Caesar and all that. Like, Caesar seemed to be more about the chemicals. Queen seems to be more about the mechanics. And then Judge seemed to be more about the genetics, and then Vegapunk was probably just everything because he was just, like, the best.
So I now have a bit of a question, right? So we know that more specifically Kaido was captured and most likely held at Punk Hazard, right?
Yeah.
So, damn. Punk Hazard has a lot of very interesting information sprinkled throughout it.
Mm-hmm.
For starters, we know Kaido being held at Punk Hazard. We know that the numbers came from Punk Hazard. More specifically, we know that the numbers are based on ancient giants or giants. You know what I mean? Like they're the big 60-meter plus things, not normal giant size. They're supposed to be bigger. You know what I mean? Oars sized.
Yeah.
So what I'm thinking's happened is Kaido went out for a suicide run, confident, got jumped by the boys in the white. You know what I mean? They've taken him there. He's been captive there for a bit. Seen that they're doing experiments to make giants. Seen Vegapunk try to make a fruit based on him. Saw that they were able to make smiles. Right? Realistically, Momo's fruit's a perfected smile fruit. To an extent.
Yeah.
Right? Then, when Kaido's gotten out of Dodge, say he's escaped on his own or his crew came and picked him up, we don't know. Do we really necessarily need to know? Or do we necessarily care? Or is it one of those things that's probably better off left in mystery? We don't know.
Yeah.
But when he gets back with his crew, he then goes, we need to get in contact. We need to get some of those ancient giants that they've got at Punk Hazard, right? And they've got a dude there that can make devil fruits. So can we get that? Can I order 500 of that? You know what I mean? Then they've gone through the effort to get in touch with Doflamingo and be like, oi, take this shit over. Get me this stuff. I need this, okay? Gone full broker on it. Seemingly, right, Kaido's entire setup right now, and the thing that we think's interesting and, you know, like, realistically, right, the entire Beast Pirates crew could be just a knockoff division of the world government. and a crappier version of that, especially if Queen's the one manipulating this stuff. Because no offense to Queen, but like even in this chapter, like the newest chapter, chapter 1007, when he's like, Chopper making an antidote's impossible, especially mass producing it. No one's that smart. Immediately
Yeah.
fixes it. You know what I mean? Queen's
Yeah.
smarter than some people with science because he's a tinkerer, but he's still like, he ain't a big brain boy. You know what I mean?
Yeah, true.
So I'm a little shook and curious as to the validity of Kaido's crew now. It might just be
Oh,
the
by the way, we've pretty much figured out. We've Oh,
yeah.
sorry, your voice is kind of glitching out. Yeah, we may have figured out what the on Punk Hazard. It had like basically the face of an ancient giant, right? And it
Ooh
was like
yeah.
a giant building. That was probably just where Kaido was held prisoner.
Oh yeah.
That was like a danger. Kaido was in here.
More specifically though, that giant skull was like a cross. Like I'm pretty sure that giant skull is the difference between an ancient giant and Onigashima. Like it's
Yeah.
nowhere near as big as Onigashima by any means. Like if Onigashima was an adult, this thing is the fetus. But like Luffy, Zoro, like the crew is smaller than the eye socket of this thing. Like here,
Yeah.
have a quick squizzy. Again, if anyone hasn't seen these pictures or anyone wants to see what the pictures we're talking about, it's in the Discord. The link to the Discord is in the description down below if you want to follow up on that. Look at that. Look at that giant skull, right? And you got to think with flesh on it, that thing's bigger than just that. And that's also, that skull has been melted. Those bones have been melted due to Akainu being present on the island.
Mm-hmm.
Right? That's a big boy. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that is huge.
Not even just that. Not even just that. Not to the same extent, but we think the numbers are big, right? But what about something that's just like a normal giant size or like a huge human size? Oh, I just sent the same photo twice then, didn't I? I'm smart.
Just the eye socket of that head is like multiple times bigger than Luffy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Imagine that thing death winking at you.
Oh, it'd be terrifying. It'd be absolutely terrifying. But what about these things? We don't really ever have many people touch on the fact that we had hundreds of people frozen in Punk Hazard that we never touched on. Not just around the walls, but like there were giants in the ice underneath. And I'm talking
True,
like
yeah.
these were some big boppers. Some of these things, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm trying to find a better photo. One that's a little less cropped. No, they just keep saving his other files. It's alright. That being said, though, like you see what I mean there, where
It would actually be. So you know how Luffy eventually has to go back to
Fishman.
Fishman Island, and that was also kind of the first place that he went to in the New World. It's seemingly like something really big is going to happen at Fishman Island. It would be interesting if Luffy basically after this island he went to Elbaf, and then he went to Laugh-Tale, became Pirate King, and then the kind of like ending arc is he revisits every island in reverse order.
And it tells a different story now that we've got more info.
Yeah, and basically, like when he goes to Elbaf, they say there's a bunch of giants that have been taken by the world government and frozen at Punk Island, at Punk Hazard, and then on his way back through, he like melts the ice and saves all these giants, and they join to his team, and then he goes back to Big Mum's territory and finally takes out Big Mum. Because remember how he specifically promised Katakuri that he would come back to that territory and take out Big Mum.
Mm-hmm.
And so like it could be that he like just revisits every island in reverse order and accomplishes the goals. And it could be like a very quick. It doesn't have to be like each of them is a whole arc. It could be almost like a as like a off screen, just like then he goes to this island and does this, then he goes to this island and he does this. Like he could do three islands in one chapter, you know. Then he kind of gets back and then he goes back to Fishman Island. That's like the final war kind of thing, or above Fishman Island at and then yeah, final war happens, everything breaks down, falls down to Fishman Island, everything's on fire, etc., etc.
I could say that. It'd be interesting.
Yeah.
Like, look, I'm just saying, there's a lot of unanswered stuff, and there's a lot of really odd stuff that's just sort of thrown out into the ether at the moment that it's really easy to forget about, like these giants and like these prisoners, right? But we keep getting hinted that that place is a bit more relevant in hindsight when you get more information. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like we could build theories.
That's
off
what I
this
kind of
stuff.
love about One Piece. Like there are like 40 different ways that I can see the series ending, and none of the ways that I think the series will end is probably how it's actually going to end.
Mm.
But then every 10, 20, 30 chapters, more information will come out and I'll come up with like five different ways for the series to end from that point. And it's almost like while I'm, you know, once a week reading a chapter, I'm coming up with like 40 different stories in my head. You know, like One Piece isn't just the actual story that it is following right now. It's also like the hundreds of other stories that I've thought of in my head of like the way that the series could go, which is pretty cool because it makes it much
It
more than just like one
it
story where this happens.
definitely keeps me wanting to stay in the community and keep reading week to week, as opposed to
Yeah.
let it end and then bulk read. Because realistically, bulk reading the series, like bulk watching it, I think a lot of people like pre-time skip more than post-time skip. I don't think they understand though that the reason they like pre-time skip more than post-time skip is because any of the pacing issues that you have post-time skip are non-existent when you're bulk watching or reading, really. Like, most of the issues that
Yeah.
people have with the post-time skip storyline are non-existent if you consumed it in the same way that you did the pre-time skip.
Yeah, right.
And I mean, like, if we're breaking it down for a moment, right? Pre-time skip, every arc is a self-contained arc, and you could pick that arc out and watch that on its own, and it could be like its own season or its own movie.
Yeah.
Post-time skip, you're no longer just doing the island to island hopping. From Fishman Island, well, actually from Sabati Archipelago, the return to Sabati, to the end of the series is one colossal arc, realistically, where you are following the same story,
Yeah.
right? Like, you might have sub bosses, but you go to Fishman Island, right, and you deal with the racism and you tie up the storyline and recruit Jinbei to the crew, but Jinbei can't come, right? And then you get reintroduced to the story of the reverie, right? So then you split from there. The Straw Hats go to Punk Hazard. They're introduced to Kaido and Big Mum's influence in the New World. Big Mum more so in Fishman Island already being introduced, but in Punk Hazard, right? Caesar's working for both Kaido and Big Mum, and we see the ramifications of their presence in the New World there on an island that's remote and untouched anyway. So there's no stone unturned by them in the New World, realistically. You know what I mean? Then you cut to Dressrosa, and it's an arc all about taking down Dofi to get at Kaido, or taking down annoying Kaido to take out Dofi to get at Kaido, realistically. But then Big Mum shows up because there's no place that's off limits. It's not one arc self-contained anymore. It's chaotic New World. Like, people don't understand, like, the reason the pre-time skip was paradise is because you could everything started and finished when you got and left the island, got to and leave. The New World, you enter the New World, and it's one flowing narrative consistently. And I don't think people like or understand that because they don't like zoom out and appreciate how chaotic it's been and how it's going. Like, people People have an aversion with death in One Piece, going, "Oh, people can't die in One Piece. No one ever dies in One Piece." But that's not true in the slightest. People didn't die pre-time skip. From the post-time skip, right? When we got to Punk Hazard, Virgo and Monet died, right? We got to
Yeah.
Dress like, and those are current real-time people. They died, right? We had
Ace died.
Pedro died. Well, Ace was a pre-time skip, but like all of post-time skip, no one really died, and it ended with the first two deaths of the series. Then you had
Ace, however,
interlude.
was like the end of the Grand Line,
Yeah,
right?
like
Like,
that was
yeah.
the finale of the first half of One Piece. You spent the first 500 to 600 chapters leading up to your first death, and then you
Yeah.
told you're going into the sea where this is constant, and it happened. Virgo died, Monet died, Pedro died, right? We have got and I'm only talking about people in the current story that are like currently around, right? And that haven't had like a
Mm-hmm.
Deus Ex Machina where they come back later. You had Yasui die. You know what I mean? Like
Mm-hmm.
Oda's not afraid of killing people anymore, but people still have an aversion of not believing it, and he still sprinkles in people that seemingly died and like pull out of it like Pound. But the point is, you can, if you withdraw yourself from the narrative, it is a lot more chaotic now, objectively.
Yeah.
And it's fitting with the theme that he was trying to portray that you just couldn't see. You know what I mean? It took it from, like, One Piece is always going to be kiddie, but now it's a touch less kiddie. And it's a touch more, like, finite with things that are happening and decisions. Like,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, this chapter we had Hyogoro get saved. But that doesn't mean he's out of the woods for this arc. He could still die. And it would be probably more tragic now knowing that he survived just to die later.
Yeah.
That being said, Marco could die. I don't want that dude to die. Look at him here. He's Phoenix Brand, that giant fireball attack he does on Queen's neck. The shockwave stuff, right? That was sick.
Yeah.
You go from that to seeing him get his wing cut off, and then he can telekinetically control parts of his body once it's been severed off him and heal back.
Mm-hmm.
That was badass, right?
Yeah.
Dude's dunking on Queen and King. Might just happen
Marco is
before he
pretty.
dies.
By the way, that one, I think he's like a pleasure or a waiter
Mm-hmm.
who has that long sword with the really big handle. He's like, damn it, I can't die here. And there's like a shot from behind him. He's standing there holding that sword. He looks so cool. I want him to like just do something awesome.
What page?
Um, right when um, right when Queen is like talking about how he's gonna kill them all, he's gonna like he wants them all to die. He's like, know your place, and then he's like, that's right, you grunts are easy to replace, and then it's below that.
I can't see it. I know it's in here somewhere.
He goes, damn it, I can't die here. Kill all the Ice Demons, friend or foe.
I can't see where the hell you're talking about. I know it's in here somewhere. I definitely read it. So like page 1, page 2, page 3. Why did you have to infect us with virus 2? Shut your mouths and that.
See if I can. We go in the Discord.
Oh, yeah. Actually, he's got like a big ass cleaver. Yeah.
I love that sword.
Dude, that looks good.
He's just like he's in like a half squat and he's like holding it behind him.
Yeah, I've got it
It's
here
just
now.
it's just such a cool image. Yeah.
He looks like he would be a pig zone or something from the front. Like he's got pig ears or something, and like, or maybe a chicken.
Yeah.
Kind of gives off
Just
some
like
low tier Katakuri vibes.
I know. I like his design.
Yeah.
He's got like the elbow brace and like cool jacket. And yeah, he's pretty cool.
That's one thing I haven't been giving the Beast Pirates enough credit for. I actually have been like enjoying a lot of their designs.
Yeah, I hate their fruits, but like the clothes that they wear are pretty badass.
They're pretty rockers. Like they're going alright. Oh, man, I feel like we've just jumped on so many tangents. Like, I don't, especially with it ending on break, I don't know where we go from here story wise. I want to say we go back to Odin. By the way, being on break, that sucks. With a cliffhanger like this. Goes you, Oda.
Yeah. I think if we don't go back to Odin, we have that invisibility. We have something to do with Blackbeard. I don't think it's going to be revealed in the next chapter that like Blackbeard's around, but I think like you're gonna have like a really subtle reference on one of his other like one of his other crewmates doing something, like Shiryu being invisible doing something or something like that.
What would
Um, then in a few chapters, maybe then it'll be revealed the Blackbeard. Like it could be everyone's talking about how there's going to be this big disaster that happens, big tragedy that happens. It could just be like Blackbeard rocks up,
Mm-hmm.
and everyone's like, "Oh shit!" Like and then that's it. Like that's a big tragedy right there. And then it would also mean that it doesn't have to be an entire separate Luffy versus Blackbeard arc after this, right? Because if Blackbeard
Well,
comes, then it means like
this
whatever ends here determines the Pirate King
this
essentially.
saga was the versus the Four Emperors saga. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Like that's what I was saying. If this is Katarina Devon, then Blackbeard shows up and Shanks shows up, and it all goes down on Wano,
Mhm.
and it ends with whoever's on top has One Piece essentially. Because
Yeah.
we're only missing one road poneglyph, but that road poneglyph, realistically, Shanks should know about its location.
Mm.
So
I mean, I'd imagine that poneglyph, if it isn't here, it's on like Elbaf or some island that they would probably go to
well,
anyway.
it was on Fishman Island in the flashback, because there were two on Fishman Island, but then we moved it. You know what I mean?
Right.
It got moved. Whether
Yeah.
that was under Whitebeard or under Shanks's rule, I think it's very interesting because Shanks would have known where all the poneglyphs were because of his time sailing with the pirates. I
Yeah,
very
but
well
I
reckon
don't
he could
know
have
if
moved it.
Shanks would have the personality to move it to a specific place.
I think he.
I think he'd probably know where it got moved, but I don't know if he himself would have moved it.
I don't know because I could see him wanting to gatekeep it because it's like he's more about like the future, and he's sort of taken on that gatekeeping role. You know what I mean? Like balancing the power until seemingly like the
I
next
see him very
trilogy
much as
comes.
just kind of standing back. Yeah, essentially, like that's how I see him. Like I see him kind of like wherever the road poneglyphs are. Obviously, whoever like the new person who's going to embody the will of D, whoever Roger was waiting for, they're going to go find the road poneglyphs anyway. And I don't think he would want to like help necessarily. He would just want to like inspire and make sure that like too many innocents don't get slaughtered in the meantime, you know?
There. Man. There's too many really crazy possibilities for the moment, and I'm a little shell shocked because I wasn't expecting whatever the hell this is with Odin.
Mm-hmm.
And that's sort of thrown a spanner in my like thoughts of the arc, which is good.
Mm.
Like I don't think anyone was predicting him to show up at the end of this chapter. Like you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But at the same
True.
time, it's just like
I really want it to be revealed that Chopper asked Frankie to make him samurai armor because he thought it was cool, and he thought that Frankie was really cool. So he was like, "Can you make me samurai armor?" And then he made it out of Wappo metal, so the Doctor didn't get hurt.
mm,
And then Chopper's samurai armor is made of Wappo metal, and it's like super strong. And like, I want him to like take a punch by like Big Mum or something and just be fine.
what happens if Hitetsu gets Wapple metal and tries to make a supreme grade sword?
Mm,
Interesting,
that'd be
yeah.
cool. Yeah.
I'm
Oh,
always
by the way, here's a question. Mr. One, right?
Yep.
The idea is that like he's like blade fruit or whatever. He can like turn his body into
Mhm.
blades, and therefore he's like all metal. What kind of metal, and can he change? Like, if he finds like a black blade or like a supreme grade blade, can he make himself turn into the metal of that blade? Or if he finds Wappo metal, can he be like, I'm gonna turn not just into a blade, but in a Wappo metal blade?
I think he is steel. I think he's just baseline steel.
Base steel. He doesn't have
But
anywhere to go from there.
no.
Because the thing is, like, people like, yeah, I mean, that basically his power is trash.
I
Then,
think
right?
what it does though is he's got the ability to with his blades almost do a projectile buggy where he can dice stuff. Because you gotta remember, Alabasta, he like cut Zoro And the whole pillar behind Zoro just diced to pieces. But Zoro wasn't cut in half, you know what I mean?
Yeah, right.
So, I don't know. It's weird. It's interesting. I mean, hey.
Because like that's the idea. Like so like Caesar is a gas fruit, but he can make any gas that he wants. He can turn into any gas that he wants. He's not just like only oxygen or whatever. And then like Luffy is rubber, but seemingly he can be like harder rubber, stretchier rubber. Like what kind of rubber is
It's
he?
got whatever property he wants at the time.
Yeah, it's like a weird concept. It's almost like he changes the rubber that he becomes based on his own like preference. Because like there are times where he punches things that are hard, right? Like there are times that he needs to make a fist and punch something and hit them really hard. So obviously he turns into like a really hard rubber, um, rather than being like a loosey goosey bouncy rubber.
Man, when do you think Crocodile ever comes back in the story outside of the final war?
Not outside of the final war. I think if he comes back in the same like kind of way that like Dofi might.
What if he
Just like a random person.
What if he comes back the same way that Moria came back?
As in joining.
As in
Blackbeard?
On the offensive with the Blackbeard crew, because Blackbeard's killed Daz Bones. And one of his crew members has got Daz Bones' fruit.
Oh.
Because
Cool.
an odd concept is to say that the Blackbeard pirates have been hunting down devil fruits and that they're devil fruit hunters now, right? But
Yeah.
Blackbeard pirates that have got devil fruits, Blackbeard himself has a devil fruit, right? So there's only 10 members. So Blackbeard himself has a devil fruit, right? Shiryu now has only just gotten a devil fruit. Katarina Devon has a devil fruit, right? Lafitte already had a devil fruit pre-time skip. And the Sanjian Wolf has a devil fruit that lets him grow bigger that he had pre-time skip. That's half the crew there that already had devil fruits or have devil fruits.
Yeah.
But they're known as devil fruit hunters and collectors. So the last 5 guys have to have devil fruits. And with the way Oda's been going at the moment, especially in Wano, showing the barrier fruit and the clone fruit, I feel like those last 5 fruits, right? Outside of maybe Burgess, who probably doesn't have one yet, those other 4 probably have fruits that we've already seen at some point in the story. I feel like...
You really think we've already seen them?
Seen them, or they're going to have some fruit between now and the next time we see them of someone that we saw in the like that was someone that we've seen before. The weird thing is though, is like the only people that had gotten devil fruits over the time skip was seemingly Katarina Devon that we know of. You know what I mean? So it's like you wouldn't call them devil fruit hunters if they've just got one.
True.
So there's got to be someone else, and they've got to have something else, right? It's very interesting that we haven't seen any of them have any of the Whitebeard pirate devil fruits, considering the Payback War, and separate to the Payback War, just the fact that remember in Zoe when they were like, if Marco's alive, since the Whitebeard pirates have all disappeared after the Payback War, if Marco's alive, we'll know where to find him. Implying that all the Whitebeard pirates have just ghosted. Now we know that Marco and Izo are good, but it's like, well, did any of them die? Did any of them get their fruits ripped from their cold dead hands? You know what I mean?
Yeah, true.
Like, are we going to see the damn cat dude or something? You know, King Avalo Pizarro? The Corrupt King? You know, he's got a whole cat theme. Like, are we going to see him all of a sudden with the diamond fruit? You know, a cat burglar sort of thing or something like that? I don't know. I was like, it doesn't make sense to me to call them. I can see that. It doesn't make sense for me, and I'll pull them up. Blackbeard pirates. It doesn't make sense to me that you call them devil fruit hunters, and only one of them, like they've only captured one fruit over the time skip. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like The thing is that like they have a lot more crew members than just the Titanic captains, and they're possibly waiting for specific fruits for the captains, right? Like if they believe in their captains the same way that like Luffy's crew believes in their captain, then they're going to assume that like Blackbeard is going to have like a monopoly on the entire world. So there's no reason for them to try to get a fruit quick, right?
Yeah, they're probably waiting for the fruits that they want. But the weird thing is, though,
Exactly.
to say that it's
But
their
like what I mean is like to
subordinates.
the extent where they're like, you know what, I want Akanu's fruit, and I'm just gonna wait until you become Pirate King, take over the whole world, and get me Akanu's fruit. Like they could be that level of like of belief in their captain. You know what I mean?
Mm. I mean, the weird
But
thing is,
whereas I feel like the lower level ones are just like, no, your job is to work for me. You don't get what you want. I'm just gonna give you whatever fruit I can get. Like you know. So maybe like a lot of like the ones that aren't like that preferable, but they're just kind of good,
mm,
are going to like Blackbeard's like lesser commanders. You know.
but the point is like the lesser commanders, like we don't we've seen Peachbeard, but he didn't have no ability. You know what I mean? And he's the only one that we really know of. Like
Yeah.
seemingly his allied captains would have been the Whitebeard allied captains if any of them decided to team up with them. But we know that those types of captains have all been getting with their ass handed to them by Weevil. You know what I mean? So I was
True.
like, does he just have fodder and no captain level people, and that's where he's like building his forces, but he's also building his own individual crew? You know what I mean? More along the
Yeah.
lines of Shanks and building territory like Shanks in the short term, right?
Hmm.
Considering that Big Mum and Kaido are the ones that literally actively crush rookies and try to get rookies to join their side. And they've got a more predominant presence right at the throat of the New World. You know, like you come out and it's like, Big Mama Kaido's turf. Haha, hey, how you doing? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I could see that.
It'd be interesting. Because, like, look, Van Orga. Like, people like Van Orga, two fruits would be interesting. If you got Van Orga, got his sniper, and you gave his sniper the Hawk fruit or Pell's fruit, you know what I mean? So it just like
Yeah.
he's got a sniper that now, and you know he's already a great shot, but he's got a sniper now that's got even better scopes on it because it's just got like eagle vision or whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
Like,
That's the thing with One Piece is you could get some like really whack powers like that.
hmm,
Like you know, like that doesn't necessarily make like you get stuff that doesn't necessarily make like too much logical sense, but it could still happen. You know, it's like you know, like okay, cool. You make your sword a hawk. Does that just mean your sword can fly? It's like no, my sword has eagle vision, so it transmits a perfect sword path to my brain, and then I
yeah,
can you know use with the perfect sword technique. And it's like what? But it could be a thing. Like
it's interesting. Like, it's crazy. It's crazy. It's crazy. I'm just saying.
yeah,
And look, if Blackbeard shows up and his crew shows up in Marineford, and that is Katarina in Wano, and that is Katarina Devon, right? And Shanks comes in Sue. Shanks probably got rejected by the Gorosei for help, which means Blackbeard will probably beat Shanks here in front of Luffy after
yeah.
Luffy takes down a Yonko, right?
Hmm.
Blackbeard would be able to reap the benefits of the war like he did at Marineford, but the Marines would probably be dealing with Dragon, and low key, they might be able to deal with Dragon. Could you imagine leaving Wano and Dragon's been taken out already? How crazy that would be, and how disappointing that
Yeah,
would be,
true.
but how hype it would be at the same time. Because
Yeah.
there's only the pirates, the Marines, and the Revs. Those are the only three factions realistically in the world. Like
Uh-huh.
they're the New World three powers. It's not the warlords, pirates, and marines. It's like the Revs, the Marines, and the pirates. You got to lump them all together now. You know what I mean?
Yeah, true.
Uh, anything else you wanted to touch on before we finish up this stream?
Um, no, I'm pretty happy. There was a lot. Yeah, I mean, hey, a lot happened. Really keen for. I'm sad there's a break, but I'm keen for next time.
A lot happened, but not much happened. But since there's a break next week, that suits really well for me, considering I've got a wedding next week. So I wouldn't have been
Yeah.
able to stream
true.
on the day anyway, so that kind of works out well for me. Hey, little wins.
Hey.
One thing I will mention, just because I didn't touch on it in this discussion, but I love it, and I really need to talk about it. Everyone calling Chopper a Tanuki continuously throughout this chapter, and him bitch slapping Queen. Like one of those get out of here, just slaps him. I'm the kind of person that's like, look, if you hold someone down in a fight, you're a dog. If you hold someone down for someone else to hit him, you're a dog. Marco holding down Queen though is just like, Chopper's not that strong, you know. You're just a cute little 100-berry man. Come on. I'll hold him down. You get your best hit out to get some revenge, okay, buddy? Chopper hulks out and just like, slaps his ass from bloody sunrise to sunset. I'm not no goddamn Tanuki. I'm a reindeer. Marco and all the Yakuza, even Drake's just like, oh shit. Like, you know what I mean? That's like, not only was that a dog thing, and then Marco's probably been like, ooh, I just like actually held down a dude for another grown-ass man to whomp him. But it's also like, ooh, we've all called him a Tanuki in the last 5 minutes. That ain't good. This dude's the guy that's gonna cure us from dying in, an hour. So, crap. Which, right, just like I say, we saw him at the beginning of the chapter. But what the hell's, like, what's Apu doing? He's just watching now. He's not even fighting. He's like, he pushed Drake to hybrid form, and then he's just like sort of walked away. And he's letting Coin talk his smack, and like Apu's just kind of like, oh my god, why am I on this side?
I feel like at this point he's just trying to friggin'
survive.
He's just like, I don't want to be a part of any of this anymore.
Yeah, no, he's just like, bruh, I was told this was gonna be a party. All right.
Yeah.
I was told I was gonna get beer and cheese. That's all I wanted, man.
He's like, yo, I was a DJ not long ago, and now half the people that I was DJing for are ice demons, and I'm not trying to keep the fucking the thing that'll save them away from them.
This is gonna look terrible on my LinkedIn. Oh my god.
Literally.
My club turned into a pack of ice demons. Crap.
All my clout gone.
Oh, never get another recommendation again because everyone's dead.
I'm gonna get cancelled.
Look, something to address though. Momo, if you're right and he's getting bigger, he's probably getting stronger, which means if he's getting stronger while he gets bigger, Shinobu might be able to mature him to a point where he is as strong as Kaido, and it's a matter of age, not a matter of the Devil Fruit being a failure, which would mean not only do we have 2 dragons present and 2 dragon fruits on play in One Piece, but Momo should be able to do everything that Kaido could do, and he's just not aware of it. Like, you know how devil fruits normally you eat them and you know what your abilities are? You know what you're capable of?
Yeah.
That might be the failure part of it. You can turn into a dragon, but you don't know how to activate the stuff until you sort of just do.
True.
Interesting. I still want to see what Yamato's fruit is. You got any idea what Yamato's going to be?
What if there isn't one?
But we saw her starting to grow teeth, remember? Like a couple chapters ago? I'm going to try and pull that up. When she was fighting Sasaki. Maybe like a Sabretooth. No, because we've got who's a Sabretooth. Maybe a tiger of some kind. I don't know. Such an odd thing. Oh my god, this is probably the first chapter in the last 7 chapters that hasn't been a straight 10 out of 10. From chapter 1000 to now. Think about it.
You think this one wasn't 10 out of 10?
Nah. Like, it was good.
I think this one was better than the last one.
I'm sorry. What? Marco coming out on the field.
Yeah.
Dribbling Queen on the court. Dunking on King. And you're telling me that this chapter was better? Really?
Yeah, dude.
Ooh.
Now you've got Chopper doing it.
Yeah, but...
Now you've got Chopper slapping Queen up. You've got yeah, you've got Odin's appearance. That's a fucking massive turnaround. That's big, dude.
Yeah, but the Odin thing, it's left me with a semi-sour taste because I don't know how to take it. Although I will.
Why? Because like either Odin's here, right, or Blackbeard's here. Regardless, that is massive, right?
Yeah, but it hasn't sunk in that it's real, so it
And
feels
even if it's that other dude you were talking about,
Dukimari
then Zoro, then the only reason for him to rock up is like Zoro is going to get another busted sword as well.
gets
So it's
Shuri,
like,
gets Shisui back.
yeah, right. So it's like,
Get
regardless of what happens, it's going to be pretty big. That yeah, the fact that he's there, and also the idea that the retainers they're still a little bit hurt, but they've recovered.
yeah, they're
Like
up.
for example, yeah, and like let's think about it. All of the retainers, that's at least Jack level, right? Like because a shoot
Oh,
like that's at least like another Jack. So you've got potentially like a King Killer, which is all the retainers ganging up against King victory.
oh yeah.
Like you've got
Actually,
so much possibilities there.
Luffy's doing his thing up on the roof. Do you reckon the retainers are gonna have a second shot at Kaido if Luffy and the rest up there get taken out again?
I don't know if they'll head back up.
It'd be interesting
Honestly,
because
it's really gonna be whatever happens with quote unquote Odin, right?
well, yes, but
Also you've got all of the pleasurers and waiters turning
like I
to the
said,
Straw Hat side.
that's 15,000 and 4,500. So that's 19,500 potential new allies. That is more than
Mhm.
half the board. Actually. Yeah, okay. CP0 hasn't changed any of the tiles to the whites. There's still one, two, three, four. There's 5 white tiles and like 20 black tiles. So it's still
Mhm.
fairly one sided. Marco needs to get in here
But
and heal
look
up the
as well.
scabbards.
Yeah, I mean, they're ready to fight. Like they're in about the same condition that Jack's in.
hmm Although Jack is like the god of recovery. Like,
Yeah,
dude.
but hey, he's one person recovering. They're like 7 people recovering. So if he recovers 1% and they recover, 0.2% each,
Are
they're recovering 1.4%.
are
Whatever.
any of the beast pirates awakened zone users?
I don't know. I don't know what the hell is going on with the Awakened Zone. All we've seen from Awakened Zone is that crap at
Jail.
the the jail, and those people did not have personalities or even like souls or anything. They could be zombies as
I
far as
mean,
we're
they were
aware.
essentially
They could
Monster
be
Point.
artificially created. We don't know what the hell.
They were essentially Monster
Um,
Point.
yeah, but we don't know. Like we don't know. Yeah, I don't know. We don't like. They didn't distinctly say when they showed them, oh, because they're awakened, they can heal just like any other awakened zone can. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's just kind of assumed.
Oh, actually,
We don't.
There was something pretty definitive on it. I've got the books here to my left. Where am I looking? Here we go. Volume 55, 56. I'm gonna say 56. Got Crocodile. Perks of having the whole series on hard copy.
Yeah, another thing, Momo's exploding out into a dragon. Something's going to happen there. That's a cliffhanger. You've got CP0 talking, essentially implying that Momo has the real dragon fruit. That's a massive cliffhanger. And then you've got Odin showing up. This chapter was just like bang, 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 bang with like revelations. It was
Yeah.
a popular chapter. I don't know what else they could have done here.
Alright, I can't be bothered looking for
Marco
that
is my
quote.
favorite character as well. It's not like I'm like biased against him or anything.
I mean, look, there were a lot of moving parts, and I'm very scared because I honestly felt like Wano's supposed to be the finale of the New World to me. Like,
Yeah.
Wano ends the last decade of storytelling, and then we enter the last saga of the story.
Mm-hmm.
Which, man, holy crap, that's crazy. By the way, what, we're on chapter 1007? In 2 chapters, this will be the longest arc in One Piece.
Yeah.
It's knocking the Doflamingo arc of Dressrosa out of the running. How does that make you feel?
Good. Because that was a kind of a shitty arc, so.
Hey, it gets a lot of hate, but it was a hell of a lot better on a rewatch, I reckon. Or like
If you
on a
binge
bulk.
the whole thing, yeah. But I mean, Wano arc was like, chapter to chapter was pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, dude, we have had back to back to back Supernova fights, right? We have had
Yeah.
low tier commander fights back to back to back. We're getting high tier commander fights back to back to back. We got chemical weapons. Ooh, we didn't get Queen. We didn't get Caesar's signatures, but you know we got some good ones. You know what I mean? So it's been a fire. Like it's been a damn good arc consistently, and like realistically, it's been pretty emotional. The Odin flashback is probably the best flashback in the series. It's the longest. I know some
I didn't
people.
like it.
You don't like the flashback?
The only flashback I've liked has been Little Luffy and Sabo and Ace.
ASL.
Because that was like big feels moments. Little ugly cry moments. But everything else was like, I don't know. It just feels like you're taking me away from the story. You're spending like entire chapters, which to me is weeks of One Piece progression, on not progressing the story. And I want the story to keep progressing. So
I don't know. Getting information about Roger, Whitebeard, and Odin.
the thing is that they could just mention it in chapters, like, you know what I mean? Like Luffy and like Kinemon could be running from one place to another, and they could say like, oh, me and all the retainers met Odin doing this, blah blah blah, blah, rather than having like,
I would
yeah, like
agree.
multiple chapters in a row of just like flashbacks, which isn't that relative to the story considering the character's already dead.
I would agree for the most part, but you cannot tell me getting to see Whitebeard and Roger clash was not worth watching. Like that alone was worth 10 weeks of waiting in the flashback just to see that moment.
It was cool, but I'd
The
rather Luffy
vindication.
get that strong.
Hey, it's coming. Chapter 1000, man.
Yeah.
Put Kaido down. Just wait until you see what like end of series.
By the way,
Luffy versus Lucci rematch. Lucci with his Rio. Imagine that.
by the way, a bit of a missed opportunity that they didn't say that the reason why the seas in the New World is so hard to sail in is because there are so many strong people fighting all the time that the oceans get disturbed and create tsunamis constantly.
That would have been
That
good.
would be pretty nutty. That's just like the reason that like if you're weak, you can barely even survive on the ocean because of just the side effects of all the strong people fighting each other.
That would have been cool.
Yeah.
Sanji. Where's Sanji heading? Is he coming to the Scabbards or is he going to Momo?
He's heading towards Momo.
Because he doesn't know that Yamato is a girl. So what do you think Sanji would have made the choice of between saving the Scabbards or saving Momo?
Well, he seems to be heading towards Momo, and that seems pretty apt because he originally, like, all of this BS started because he saved Momo from the podium, right? Like that's basically been Sanji's entire arc so far. So it seems like Sanji is kind of like the guardian of Momo, except he got distracted midway through and got caught by the ladies. But yeah, Sanji will go help out Momo because that's what he's meant to be doing. And then he's gonna see her. He's gonna see Yamato and be like, "Oh, Yamato," and Yamato's gonna be like, "I'm Odin." He's gonna be like, "Huh?" Yeah. Well, okay. Here's the thing. So it seems like there are the combat party against Queen and King, which is where Chopper is.
Yep.
Then there's the rooftop party, and then there's the
individual matchups in like the hallways.
There's the Momo party, and the
the Scabbards party, right? And then
Yep.
everyone else is just kind of like the people that are fighting in different places. Like
Yep.
Robin's fighting, blah blah blah, Robin and Brooke, and then yeah. But like it seems like in terms of like actual like parties in different locations, there's those four,
Groups.
right?
Yeah.
Um, I don't think anyone on Blackbeard's crew, like Shiryu or whatever, will go. I think maybe Blackbeard might go to the rooftop. Maybe Shiryu, if you want to be like the difference between like Zoro and Shiryu or whatever. But I'm thinking like if they're kind of trying to play like an infiltration game, one person, one infiltrator, quote unquote, have showed up with Momo, or sorry, with the retainers so far. So is the next person, potentially Invisible Shiryu, about to show up with Momo and
Mm.
Yamato while Invisible Sanji is heading there?
Or
So potentially we're going to have the Invisible Showdown now. We're going to have Sanji versus Shiryu right now.
or or does Momo and Yamato about to get hurt by someone, and someone comes out of nowhere that's invisible and takes them out, and they go, "Thank you, Sanji, for saving us," and the person just stays invisible.
Yeah.
So it's ambiguous if it's Sanji or if it's little
But then what's
Shiryu.
the end game?
The end game might be to keep the Straw Hats alive enough and help them enough, just enough, to completely decimate the Big Mum and Black and Beast Pirates, because they know full well that they could take out the Straw Hats in a one-on-one situation. They feel that confident.
Yeah. It's possible, but it doesn't seem like it's cool on the Straw Hat side of things. Right, like it seems like the best case scenario there is that the Straw Hats get carried against Big Mom and Kaido, just manage to win, and then they get turned on by the Blackbeard pirates, and then assumedly they like fight back harder than expected, and win that as well. But even then, it doesn't seem. It
Well,
seems like they're just kind of getting toyed and dominated with, and they got slightly underestimated, and then won because of it. It doesn't seem like they were like a dominant force. It seems like they were like the weaklings who won because they're weak. You know, like
mm,
well because they're strong because they're actually medium strong, but everyone thought they were weak and they misjudged them. You know.
hmm. Really
Which doesn't seem
interesting.
cool. Like it needs to be like they're not taken seriously, and then they show that they're really good, and then they are taken seriously, and then they still win.
Honestly, I'm thinking about it more and more. I don't think the Blackbeard Pirates are showing up. I don't think they can. And
How come?
I don't think we could deal with them after dealing with two Yonko.
Well, what if it's not going to be that way? What if it's a four like Big Mom, Kaido, Blackbeard, Luffy, like and the Straw Hat Alliance, all as different parties. Like Big Mom and Blackbeard are kind of together, but they're basically like what if it's just everyone on the rooftop currently is fights and beats Kaido while Blackbeard starts fighting Big Mom.
Do you know what? If it is the Blackbeard Pirates, do you know what makes more sense to me?
Mm-hmm.
Who has the best fruit on Onigashima?
Kaido.
You think Kaido definitively has the best
I
fruit?
don't. I don't think Big Mom. No.
No? Do you think Kaido's over Marco's?
Um, I like Marco's more, but I think Kaido's is stronger.
Okay. Kaido is fighting the Alliance and he's gone into hybrid form, right?
Yep.
What if while he's fighting in hybrid form, they absolutely drop them, right?
Mm-hmm.
It would be interesting if the Big Mum Pirates show up, and you know how the gifters and pleasurers have swap sides? If they start
Yeah.
attacking the Big Mum Pirates, and then Big Mum thinks Kaido's betrayed her, and so they start fighting a little bit,
Yeah.
Kaido takes out Big Mum, or hurts Big Mum, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then you just see Kaido come out of hybrid form, and he's really confused. And then the invisibility dissipates, because the clear fruit can make multiple people invisible, and Blackbeard has grabbed Kaido and has turned his powers off and just proceeds to wail on him with the quake fruit.
Yeah. Possible, but I don't see Kaido just straight up losing there. But I could see that being like how Blackbeard makes his
I mean,
appearance known.
if he goes human again, sure, you could stab him and cut him and all sorts of things.
Well, okay, let's just say Blackbeard's pirates do rock up. Where do you think, other than Blackbeard, who you'd assume would go to the roof, where do you think everybody else will go? Do you think Shiryu will be on the rooftop, or do you think he'd go down?
I feel like Shiryu is as an infiltrator and as an arrogant person, I think he would stick with Blackbeard. I actually genuinely think he would.
I don't know. I genuinely don't think that he's the right-hand man. I think he'd go off and do his own thing, and I think
Burgess is the right hand man, but I think Shiryu is a agent of I think Shiryu is an agent of sticking with the stronger person. Not that he's not strong on his own, but if he sticks with the stronger person, he has more opportunity to shine in a way, if that makes sense. Does that make sense?
I don't know. I just feel like, I don't know. I feel like Sherry will be infiltrating, going underground. I actually think Blackbeard would probably just go on the roof on his own.
Well,
I don't know if even Burgess. I think Burgess would go to where Chopper is, and Shiryu would go to like Momo. They basically just like hit all the different, and then like, because that's the thing, like
Burgess versus King.
This could literally be
the useless first commanders.
Yeah, this could literally be like Burgess versus King, or just in general a part of that combat, and then you've got like the other small like Doc Q and all of that could just go to one person could show up where Jinbei is, one person could show up where Robin is. Like you could just have people showing up at every confrontation, and it basically just turns every fight from a us versus you into a three-way battle royale type deal, right? Like it's just everything is just goes to shit. Everything's just chaotic. And it's like it's no longer like, can Sanji beat Jack, and can Sanji beat Queen, and can Zoro beat King, like everyone, like very basic stuff that everyone would think. And it's just like, no, this person's fighting this person who's also fighting this person who's fighting this person, and it's just insane, and you just don't know like what the hell's going on. And then like, you get the picture by seeing individual, because like right now it's been absolute chaos. Like Queen has fought so many different people. And he's just constantly like, he's gone inside and dealt with the Flying Six members, and then all the Flying Six members have left, and then he's come outside, and then he's seen Zoro and tried to knock Zoro down from getting above, and then he's fought Marco, and then he's been shooting at the
it's very
Marineford-esque
of them just like chaotically running around doing stuff.
Exactly, yeah. It's not just one-on-ones like, oh, we're gonna fight you and we're gonna just line up against each other. It's just like randomly everyone's just doing everything, and eventually people will start going down. But like, you could have, for example, like you could have Sanji show up right now and do like 80% of the damage to Queen, and then move on, and then someone else comes on and finishes Queen. But it's like, none of the Straw Hats could get like distinctive "I've beaten you one-on-one" kind of things, but they've done like, you fought pretty well against him, then you went and fought pretty well against him, then you went and kind of got beaten by him, but later you fought pretty well against this guy, and it's like, it's not necessarily going to be clean.
If the Blackbeard pirates show up, does Aokiji show up? Is he their 10th division commander?
Man, I really don't know.
Because if Aokiji shows up, that would be a definitive answer if a admiral is Yonko level, wouldn't it?
Okay, how about this? I think if Aokiji shows up, it means a lot more than just that. I think if Aokiji shows up, Aokiji is a former Marine who has like a very good sense of justice, similar to like um Fujitora and stuff like that. I think if Aokiji shows up, something happens, like Blackbeard, Big Mom, and Kaido all seem very, very evil, and Luffy seems genuinely good. Luffy beats them all and starts going on about how he's going to save the world and all this stuff, and then um, moves Aokiji, and then Aokiji decides that he wants to be on Luffy's side, and then that has an impact on Fujitora, who looks up to Aokiji, and then Fujitora decides to be on and it's I think it'll kind of start the whole like half of the Navy rebelling kind of
Mm.
thing. I don't think it'll just be as simple as like he's just on Blackbeard's crew. I think like Aokiji will have his own kind of sense of morals and stuff, and he'll just be trying to like look for answers or something.
What am I even talking about? Dude. Do you ever have one of those matchups that's set up but you just overlook it?
What?
Blackbeard Pirates show up, Aokiji comes with them, right? CP0 makes a move against the Blackbeard Pirates because they want to eliminate a former admiral that's turned pirate.
True.
And we know CP0 drove off the Blackbeard Pirates from Dragon's Base at Baltigo. So they've got
Sure.
they've got beef in history.
True.
So that might be a matchup there. And then that's not
Tell you
even
what, it's
involving
actually
Shanks.
it's entirely possible that like Blackbeard has some like CP0 knows something about Blackbeard. You know how it's been mentioned that he has like a weird body and all this stuff,
Mhm.
and like it could be entirely possible that like when CP0 showed up and fought off Blackbeard, there was a reason that they were hunting down Blackbeard. You know what I mean? Like it's entirely possible that for some reason that we don't know, CP0 and like the world government in general does not want Blackbeard to get stronger. Like he has some kind of knowledge or power of some kind, or lineage, or even of some kind that like they're just like, no, we can't let this guy exist.
Mm. Man,
So it's entirely possible that they attack him, that they attack Blackbeard because of Blackbeard, not even because of Aokiji. And it's possible that the reason why Aokiji joined him has something to do with that as well. Like maybe he heard something about it, from like while he was in the Navy, and then he's like, I'm gonna go check this out, you know?
It's got me thinking.
Mm.
It has definitely got me thinking. All right. I don't really have much else to talk about at the moment. Do you?
No, I think we're good.
Alright, I think we might call the stream there. Thank you for anyone that's taken the time out of your day to watch. If you ever want to be a part of the conversation, like I said, always feel free to hit up the comment section down below or join the Discord to talk anything anime and manga related with myself and Dan the Man. That being said, I'm really interested to see what everyone else's thoughts are on whether this is really Odin or whether or not it's someone else. Because I genuinely am in a state of disbelief where I don't really believe it, so I don't really care about it enough, if that makes sense. So, it'll be interesting. Yeah, you know what we do.
It's one of those things where it happened, but you don't know like what's
You don't know
going
how
on.
to
You don't know
feel.
what's going to happen in the future. So it's almost like I don't care about it right now. I care about it next chapter when they explain it.
Yeah, definitely. All right. That being said, you know what we do, what we don't, what we is, what we isn't. Thank you for coming by. Till next chapter, which is not next week, the week after, or unless we do a discussion at some point later this week. All right. Peace and have a good one.